Oh man, what am I gonna do? I've been so busy that I didn't realize it was already April Fool's Day. I mean, I could just go the easy route and do what I did last year, but where's the fun in that? Oh god, not again.
Why, hello there, my scrawny little friend. I just happened to notice you floating here in the void, and just couldn't pass up the opportunity to give you my greetings.
Can you just tell me why you're here? I thought I banished you away forever.
Hey now, remember, this is what the people wanted. You just have to suck it up and accept that chocobos are truly better than Moogles.
Alright, fine, sure. Can you just help me come up with an idea for this video?
I mean, I don't know. You have a weird obsession with that pink round thing, right? Just do that again.
Well, of course I couldn't do that again. Wait.
Kirby, that's the name you should know. Kirby, he's the star of the show.
Make Kirby Pink Boy Lore Part 2 Extended Edition.
Back in the primordial seas of 2001, Warpstar Incorporated, an affiliate of HAL Laboratories, would birth an animated series for one of Nintendo's most popular franchises, Kirby. So in turn, Kirby Right Back At Ya, or Hoshi no Kabi in Japan, was created, being picked up in the West by none other than Foxbox, later becoming 4Kids, leading to the dub having such beautiful scenes like...
How can I help you, King DDD?
I need a monster to claw with that there Kirby.
That's what we do best at NME.
You better get it with a money back guarantee.
and...
He has fallen and cannot get up.
Though enough about 4Kids, let's talk about what at least one of you came here for, that ever so spicy lore. Alright, so seeing as over the years, Kirby has developed quite the complex story, with more pieces to the puzzle being added with every mainline installment, what does Kirby Right Back At Ya bring to the table? Well, you have to remember, back in 2001 when the anime was made, the show didn't exactly have that much to work off of, more so just choosing elements from the most recent games to craft its plot. And well, let's just say they chose an interesting path. Since with the remake of Kirby's Adventure, Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland, coming out during the run of the show, rather than the anime taking inspiration from some of the other recent Kirby games at the time, Kirby Right Back At Ya drew much of its inspiration from the former, with the main villain of the game, Nightmare, also being the main villain of the show. However, that's where the similarities end, because whereas Nightmare was originally just a mysterious wizard who wanted to spread his nightmares all across Dreamland via the Fountain of Dreams, in the anime they decided to pull a Star Wars and make him an intergalactic warlord, who through his company Nightmare Enterprises intends to conquer the entire universe. Which I guess fits when it comes to a Monster of the Week show, as while they could have picked more fitting villains from Kirby at that point, it'd probably result in the show becoming way more dark than they intended. Though by far one of the best things to come from the whole Nightmare Enterprises plotline is customer service, or the NME salesman, Nightmare's right-hand man, and probably the most iconic character to come exclusively from the show, though we'll talk about him more in a bit. Instead, what about Kirby? As his origin hadn't even been hinted at in the games yet, the anime decided to take matters into its own hands and make Kirby not only an actual baby, but a space baby. Mostly to give a reason as to why Kirby's speech solely consists of... But Kirby wasn't just any run-of-the-mill space baby, no. In this timeline, he's a Star Warrior, a member of a vast fallen army that once stood against Nightmare ages ago. And well, that's about it, not counting the actual ending of the series, since with the show following your typical Monster of the Week type formula, there isn't that much plot progression to be had aside from different characters that are developed every episode. Like Meta Knight, for example. In the show, he's a Star Warrior too, and serves as kind of a guiding force for the other characters. A good example of this would be the debut of Knuckle Joe into the show, where Meta Knight has to explain to him how Knuckle Joe's father was turned into a monster by Nightmare, forcing Meta Knight to cut him down for his own good. Just like the games, when it came down to it, this anime did not pull its punches at all, especially in the original version of the show, before the 4Kids edits cut out a variety of scenes from the anime. Hell, on that note, 4Kids even aired portions of the the show out of order, with quite a few episodes being aired earlier or later for a variety of reasons. Though anyways, getting back on track, let's fast forward to the climax of the show, where after having 2 episodes dedicated to marketing Kirby Air Ride, as it had just came out at the time, the show decides to go full Star Wars when Nightmare just straight up sends a spaceship to ravage Dreamland. Though not all is lost, because in this episode, Meta Knight reveals that he too has a spaceship. And after DDD and Escargoon cause some more hijinks like they always do, Meta Knight along with everyone else set off to put an end to Nightmare once and for all. Now I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this segment because not only is it great seeing the halberd finally animated, but the fact that they somehow worked the heavy lobster into it just made it perfect. So after dealing with the heavy lobster, Kirby and friends reach Nightmare's massive space fortress, taking refuge within it after falling for one of Nightmare's traps. Though the peace wouldn't last for long, because through the evil flip phone DDD got from customer service, DDD and Escargoon would be hypnotized into bringing Nightmare one of Kirby's friends, Tiff. And it would be at this point that the greatest anime plot twist of all time would occur.
I know that voice. You're the sales dude.
We've never actually seen you in person before.
Well, you're in for a little surprise.
You look a lot taller on the TV screen.
I'm sorry, but I just had to play that in full. It's probably my favorite scene from the entire anime. However, after that revelation, Nightmare gets just what he wants and kidnaps Tiff, using her as bait to lead Kirby into his very own nightmare. So then, after all seemed lost with Kirby out of energy, Tiff takes out the Warp Star, leading to Kirby inhaling it and obtaining Nightmare's only weakness, the Star Rod. In turn, leading to Nightmare's downfall just like in the games, minus the moon exploding. And well, that's a wrap. All in all, I'd say Kirby Right Back At Ya is one of the best video game based shows out there, with the creator of the series, Masahiro Sakurai, having quite the influence when it came to the show's creation. I mean really, alongside bringing various enemies and characters from the games to life, the show also parodied a large variety of things. Just take the 2 episodes Cartoon Buffoon and Tuned Out, where the show effectively pokes fun at the animation industry and otaku culture, with the former being so loved by fans that recently it got its very own reanimated collab. Not to mention Kirby Right Back At Ya would end up affecting the games quite a lot, from music in the anime being used or remixed in the games, to certain characters from the anime having cameos, to designs from the anime being used in the games, to even Meta Knight's signature sword, the Galaxia, first appearing in the anime. So in the end, I highly suggest you check out Kirby Right Back At Ya, because while it does have its shortcomings, mainly the early 2000s CG spread across the entire show, its many other positive aspects vastly outshine its negative ones. Except for that one time when they made a new episode for the show almost 10 years after it ended, exclusively for Nintendo Video, where Kirby turns into an actual human man. Yeah. I guess Sakurai's wishes weren't honored in the end. Though now, as has become tradition on every April Fool's Day, it's time for our annual Q&A session with me, that guy who made his online livelihood a Moogle for some reason. First question, who is the MMO Chocobo?
Well, I was some shitty one-off April Fool's joke, but no more. I am my own YouTube guy channel. Look, it's right there, my YouTube guy channel, on the screen, right there. You can go to it and watch epic gaming content like this.
Okay, anyways, next question. Any specific reason
What made
your
you
character
make
is the reason you chose to have your Moogle as your channel for your avatar? Are you a cat? Alright, so I'm just gonna get all the Moogle questions out of the way because, wow, there were a lot. And you know what? I'll even answer this one in person. So okay, going back to when I was 15 and made this channel, I was really obsessed with Final Fantasy. Arguably more so than I am now, what with Mog from Final Fantasy VI being my favorite character at the time. So in turn, my 15-year-old mind thought, hey, I know a good idea. I should make my profile picture on YouTube be this really bad Moogle with a top hat and monocle. And it was like that for around a year and a half. Like, I barely even made any videos. It was just there. And, you know, Fast forward like a year and a half later, I ended up upgrading it when I drew, or traced more or less, this really bad Moogle in GIMP. And that was the Moogle you all saw if you've been watching me for like 2.5 years now, actually. Moral of the story, we all have to start somewhere. Anyways, switching back to my Moogle, next question, following up on why my avatar is a Moogle, why did I choose the name RPG Monger? Well, again, much like the Moogle, it was kind of something I just came up with on a whim, since at the time, I kind of just wanted to do game reviews and stuff like that. And funnily enough, I kind of have now, so I guess we've come full circle. Betty asks, will the channel become more experimental in the future, or are you planning to make another big series? Also, can you speak Portuguese fluently? Great question. As you guys have probably guessed from my past couple of uploads, I definitely do want to kind of move my channel away from having a set series and just make whatever I want instead. Now, that's not to say the fandom files are completely gone, as I will see the series to its end, but they'll definitely come out a whole lot less frequently, with the focus of my channel shifting to a variety of things. And on the topic of Portuguese, kind of. You may not be able to tell, but I'm actually half Brazilian, as my mom was born in Rio. So as a result of learning the language while I was young, I can't really speak the language at all, though I can understand it and read it. In the future, I definitely do want to pick the language back up. From Gideon Naziri, why don't you make more Final Fantasy videos? Well, funny you say that because I've been putting a lot of time into a certain Final Fantasy game in hopes of making a video about it soon. Again, no promises, as I could just can the entire script, but I've been thinking about it a lot. From Sarah Highwind, how did a Moogle head grow a body? Just a couple ritual sacrifices. From Torchic Rules, favorite Dream Friend and Kirby Star Allies? From Tiny Oats, how long does it take to put a video together? They have that quality over quantity feel, and rewatching them never gets boring. Well, first of all, thank you. Nowadays, taking into account the research, writing, audio editing hell, and all the other small bits and pieces, I'd say my average video takes a solid 2 to 3 weeks overall, with special cases taking even longer. From Arcs and Chronicles, are you a furry? Alright, so I know it would seem like I am, what with my avatar on everything being a Moogle, but I'm not. I'm just a big Final Fantasy fan. Last one from YouTube, Victoria B asks, any new future projects for the channel, and what fandoms do you hope to cover in the future? Well, in terms of upcoming videos, I will say that either this month or early next month I'm gonna be putting out a video on Pokemon Ranger, as I've been playing all 3 games in preparation. In terms of fandoms, I can't really give you a definitive answer, but in a good couple of months when I make my next fandom files, it'll probably be on Star Wars. Moving on to Twitter, from Meow Meow, how long have you lived in Florida? Actually, I was born in Florida. I've lived here pretty much all of my life, and yet the weather still utterly destroys me. From Kitsel Muse, what made you decide to do the deep dive research on fandoms? Well, much like my channel, it was kind of just an idea I had on a whim after I'd made like 2 or so videos on fandoms in general. From Jolitero, which video do you regret making the most? Okay, so not counting my terrible early videos, as they're kind of a given, I'd say either my fandom files on JoJo or Fire Emblem, both of which are now gone forever. Though who knows, I may remake them someday with a much better script. We'll just have to see. Speed Art Gamers asks, what's your birthday? It's the 26th of this month, actually. You see, by sheer coincidence, I was born on the exact day that my favorite anime, Fully Cooley, came out. Potato Boss asks, are you still into Homestuck? Yeah, about that. At this point, I don't think it'll be something I can get out of now. I've listened to the music I'm still listening to the music from Homestuck, so that could probably tell you the state I'm in. And finally, Cans asks, anyways, I feel like that's a good place to end it. I hope I answered enough of your questions this year, though don't go just yet, because I think a certain someone has something to tell you.
Hey, psst, I'm talking to you. I'm the voice of the MMO Chocobo. That's right, he's not real, just like Sans from your favorite video game Undertale. If you click on the link that is provided probably in the description or in the video cards, I don't know, you will be able to find my YouTube channel. Isn't that cool? Ah!
So yeah, definitely go check him out. He puts out a lot of great stuff. Oh, and before I forget, today's cool thing of the day is Cuby.